If you've not learned Arabic yet, know how to read it, because there's certain things that you need to understand of any language in order to be able to read and understand what is meant in a sentence, especially when you're talking about Arabic without the diacritical marks and what have you that people make a whole racket about. In Arabic, there are three things you need to keep in mind in order to be able to understand anything that's being said, any sentence that's being said. You need to keep in mind the nouns, which are the asma. You need to keep in mind the verbs with the af'al, and you need to keep in mind huruf jar, which are the prepositions. Yes, there are other forms of words as well in Arabic, but these are the three main ones that you need to keep in mind. Now, asma, which are the nouns, only have pretty much two forms. Actually, well, three forms, right? You have the singular, you have the dual, right? And then you have the plural. These are easy to memorize. They're only three forms, right? And if you have the huruf jar, they don't change at all, right? So the ba and the fa and the lam and the k, these don't change at all. What your main problem is going to be is with the af'al, with the verbs, because not only do the verbs change and conjugate based on what the pronoun is. So for I and you and they being dual or they being plural, and you being dual, you being plural, etc. All of that is about 10 forms or so for the pronouns. But then you also have to deal with past tense, you have to deal with present tense, and then you have to deal with future tense, the future tense, and conjugating in all those forms, right? And then you also have to deal with the 10 main scales of any verb in Arabic. Today, I want to focus on those 10 main scales in Arabic. Those will not only, if you understand the root of a word, which is what I constantly emphasize on my channel, if you understand the root of a word, then you'll be able to put and you memorize the meaning of each of the 10 scales, not just what that verb in a certain scale, but understanding what those scales mean themselves. Then you'll be able to understand 10 extra words for that one verb. That's why I emphasize so much the root meanings of words and not just separate branched off meanings, right? So if you have a verb like fa'ala, now there are 10 different scales that can be on. You have fa'ala, you have fa'ala, you have af'ala, you have fa'ala, you have tafa'ala, you have tafa'ala, you have infa'ala, you have ifta'ala, you have if'ala, and you have istaf'ala. Those are the 10 main scales upon which any verb will go on. So if you memorize these 10 scales, what they mean, you're going to be so close to being able to read any verb whenever you see it in a sentence. And that's really, I think, what really trips people up when they say, oh man, I can't read Arabic without the diacritical marks, like the fatha, the dhamma, the kasra, right? And Arabs used to read without all of that and without the dots, right? So if you can read, if you understand these word forms whenever you see them, then it's instant, right? It takes some time. You have to memorize the meanings, and then you have to practice seeing them and how they look and remembering, oh yeah, that's the meaning of that. Once you do that, then it's game over. You're 50% closer to being able to read a sentence without the diacritical marks. Yes, you're gonna have to remember the huruf jar, which don't change, right? You have to remember the asma, the nouns, which have three separate forms. But once you do those, then it's over. And that's the reason why.